Hey, good morning, guys. You're sitting here watching the coffee brew. I got up a little late this morning. A good night. Had a long night. Looking here at these two references, Philippians 1:18 and 1:19. 1:19 has three references to it, and 1:18 has four references to it. So we're going to put these two together, see how they come out together. How's that sound? It's nice outside. Kids are out there, so I got up late. They're already outside, so I'll do this real quick and get out and see what God's got for us. I always enjoy that. I always enjoy going out and seeing what God's got for us. Just amazing realizing that He controls everything. He's got His hands in everything. It's in everything. Yeah, and it's just amazing. Philippians 1:18. What then? Moreover, seeing that by every method, whether in pretense or truth, Christ is being announced, I am rejoicing in this also, and will be rejoicing nevertheless. Some indeed are even heralding Christ because of envy and strife, yet some because of delight also. These indeed of love, having perceived that I am located for the defense of the evangel, yet those are announcing Christ out of faction, not purely, surmising to rouse affliction in my bonds. What then? Moreover, seeing that by every method, whether in pretense or truth, Christ is being announced, and I am rejoicing in this also, and will be rejoicing nevertheless. For I am aware that for me, this will be eventuating in salvation through your petition and the supply of the Spirit of Jesus Christ. Philippians 1, verse 15 through 19. What then? Are we privileged? Are we privileged? Undoubtedly not. For we previously charged both Jews and Greeks to be under sin, to be all under sin, according as it is written that not one is just, not even one. Not one is understanding. Not one is seeking out God. All avoid Him. At the same time, they were useless. Not one is doing kindness. There is not even one. Romans 3, verse 9 through 12. Observe Israel according to the flesh. Are not those eating the sacrifices participants with the altar? What then am I averring? That an idol sacrifices anything? Or that an idol is anything? But that which that which the nations are sacrificing, they are sacrificing to demons, and not to God. Now, I do not want you to become participants with the demons. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons. You cannot be partaking of the table of the Lord and the table of demons. That's 1 Corinthians 10, 18 through 21. What is it then? Should I be praying in the Spirit? Yet I will be praying with the mind also. In the Spirit will I be playing music, yet I will be playing with the mind also. Else if I should be blessing in the Spirit, how shall he who is filling up the place of a plain person be declaring amen at your giving of thanks, since in fact he is not aware what you are saying? 1 Corinthians 14, verse 15 and 16. All right. That's good stuff. Philippians 1:19. For I am aware that for me, this will be eventuating in salvation through your petition and the supply of the Spirit of Jesus Christ. Now, here's three references. Now, those who are in flesh are not able to please God. Yet you are not in flesh, but in spirit. If so be that God's Spirit is making its home in you. Now, if anyone has not Christ's Spirit, this one is not his. That's Romans 8, verse 8 and 9. But we have this rescript of death in ourselves, that we may be having no confidence in ourselves but in God, who rouses the dead, who rescues us from a death of such proportions, and will be rescuing, on whom we rely that he will still be rescuing also. You also assisting together by petition for us, in order that from many faces he may be thanked by many for us for the gracious gift given to us. 2 Corinthians 1, 9 through 11. He, then, who is supplying you with the Spirit and operating works of power among you, did you get the Spirit by works of law or by the hearing of faith? According as Abraham believes God, and it is reckoned to him for righteousness. Now, know consequently that those of faith are sons of Abraham. That's Galatians 3, 5 through 7. And those are the references there to Philippians 1:18 and Philippians 1:19. It's going to be an awesome day, you know. This is Saturday morning, isn't it? Wow. We went up, they got a call yesterday about that car. Y'all, you know, I was thinking how my reactions would have been BC, before Christ in me, before I understood this stuff. But what my reactions would have been back there at that dealership. They had it for 2 days. And got down there, well, they called yesterday and said, well, told me the list of stuff that needed to be done to it. And I'll back up. I got a second. Yesterday, or Thursday, about 5 o'clock, about 10 minutes to 5, the rascals called me and give me a list of stuff that's wrong with the car. Started naming this and naming that, and this and these, that, and those, and this. I think there's 4 things. Maybe 5 if they named it off. And he couldn't get any words out. I mean, he said, well, I got to go because we're going to close the door. It's time to go. We got to go. And I'll talk to you in the morning. And then he hung up. About 5 o'clock, when the bell rings there to go home, it reminded me of being with Marcia early on when I first started seeing her. She worked at a Fasco factory where they shipped it to Mexico. All their stuff, they moved the plant down there. Anyway, and I went down and picked her up a couple of times, and it reminded me of turning the chickens out down here at the hen house. When you open them doors up, them rascals come flogging out of there, just running, and they could almost fly. People coming out of that factory, hundreds of them. They just come out like you open the. And I've never been around factory work. I didn't ever do any of that. So anyway, so when this guy called and he had to hang up at 5 o'clock, I knew he had to go. So yesterday morning I waited till about 9:30, 9:45, called him. And I said, y'all got my car done? Hey, so let me get the mechanic and ask him. So they went over and got round to that guy up. And he said, no, he hadn't got it. The air conditioning cold, he hadn't got that cold. I said, well, let me know. That's because, I got to get a ride to get down there because that's my only transportation. So later they called all about 3 o'clock. Said, well, we we can't get it go cold because it needs need to go to a Chrysler dealership. They're not able to program a sensor to regulate it to the new air compressor for the car, for the AC, the air conditioning compressor. They can't. They can't hook up to it. That's 2 days. They didn't know that for 2 days. So I said, well, let me come and get it. So we'll work on that later. So I went and picked it up, and now we've got an appointment next Wednesday to drop it off. And I got another guy that he just bought a $10,000 piece of equipment with sensors, so he can read sensors on cars. It's not that other cars, so Chrysler's in particular. So someday we'll have a car with AC in it. Anyway, that's life, So yeah, I look at things a lot different now. It's it's funny, Though that little guy didn't know. He's a new guy. He got to learn somewhere, and it wasn't on my car. Anyway, we'll get going, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Grace and peace to you guys. Let's go see what God's got for us. You ready? It's almost 7 o'clock. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. See you then.